What's up, Ravens flock? Chris Linfon here from BaltimoreFeather.com, and today we're going to start our prospect evaluations for the 2019 draft class. And we're going to start off with DK Metcalf. Now, DK Metcalf, you probably know, he's a wide receiver out of Ole Miss, sophomore. He is a very talented receiver with a lot of people thinking he's going to be the next great receiver in the NFL. And he's got plenty of talent, and the measurables are really fantastic. He had a great combine performance. Now, it's no secret the Ravens are going to be in the market for a wide receiver. Of course, they cut Michael Crabtree maybe a week ago now. And John Brown will probably walk in free agency. So the Ravens will definitely be adding a wide receiver in the draft this year. And DK Metcalf could be that guy at number 22 the Ravens want to grab, a big-time number one receiver. So we're going to answer the question of whether or not DK Metcalf will be a Baltimore Raven, or at least should be a Baltimore Raven, by the end of the first round of the draft this April. But to understand DK Metcalf, I want to talk a little bit about his measurables and his combine results so far. So here we go. We're going to talk about his height, weight first here. He's 6'3", 228 pounds. So he's a big-bodied receiver. He's a guy who can really be what you need as a number one receiver. He's got the arm size, that wingspan of 34 inches and 7/8 inches, and those 9 7/8 hands. Doing the prospect evaluations, looking at them from the combine, there's really not a whole lot of guys who are going to be able to have those kind of measurables. And then, of course, you can look at his combine numbers here. We've got 4.33 seconds on that 40-yard dash. And as a 6'3", 228-pound wide receiver, he's got a lot of weight to carry to run a 4.33. And a 4.33 is extremely impressive for any receiver. So he's got that elite speed someone like John Brown would need. But John Brown, of course, is smaller than DK Metcalf. And DK, if you can carry this speed that he has as 6'3", 228, I mean, that's a big time advantage he's going to have over smaller guys, over slower guys. He's going to create that mismatch with that 4.33 speed on that 40-yard dash with that 6'3" height and 228 pounds. Big, strong. He's got 27 bench press reps. I think that's absolutely phenomenal. He's very strong. This is stronger than some of the offensive linemen in this draft. So, I mean, he is jacked. I mean, everybody saw this picture, obviously. DK Metcalf here. I mean, this is him on the left. He's completely jacked. I mean, the dude is going to be a fantastic athlete in the NFL. There's no question about it. His vertical jump, he's got a good number, 40.5 inches. That's pretty good. Broad jump, another really high number, 134 inches. And then, of course, you've got his shuttle, 4.5 seconds on the 20-yard shuttle, and the three-cone drill, 7.38 seconds, showing his agility there. So, I mean, everybody knows that DK Metcalf is going to be one of the best athletes in the NFL when he transitions here. You don't really find guys with this kind of build, with this kind of speed, or with this kind of strength at the wide receiver position. He is a big specimen. Kind of reminds me of Julio Jones coming out of college. But the question is now, how will he translate with his stats? Because, of course, we can look at his measurables here, and we see all these great things, but we really don't, get the full picture. And when you look at his stats, it's not the greatest in the world. These aren't the greatest stats in the world here. You've got his freshman year, he goes for just 13 yards, but no one really cares about that. He gets redshirted anyway, because of a injury, I believe. And then, of course, his sophomore season, his second freshman season, so his redshirt freshman season, I'm sorry. He plays all 12 games. He catches 39 passes for 646 yards, a 16.6 average, 7 touchdowns. Pretty darn good there, but he's not the number one receiver here. You got A.J. Brown, other guys. And then Ole Miss this year, not a really great year, another injury. And we'll talk about these injuries in a second here. And he only receives for, 26 passes for 569 yards and 21.9 average with 5 touchdowns this year. And then you look at the receiving leaders this year. you've got guys like Elijah Moore here, caught more balls than him, obviously a smaller average. You've got DeMarcus Lodge here. I believe he's in this draft class too. 877 yards. And A.J. Brown, 85 catches for 320 yards. So I know he only played 7 games, I believe, this year, but not a great statistic here. And, of course, he has 2 years cut short. The first year is cut short with a foot injury, a season-ending foot injury in year 1, and year 2 he's got a season-ending neck injury after just 7 games. So I think that's very concerning for DK Metcalf to be coming into the NFL, where 2 of his previous 3 years are cut short because of injury. He only has 1 healthy year, and that's 2017 with Ole Miss. But do we overlook these injury problems, and do we see the prospect as the potential next Julio Jones that a lot of people think he is? Because, his measurables and what he can bring to the table athletically is very, very impressive. So what should the Ravens do here? How should they approach this? We're really going to have to take a look at the tape. We won't be able to get a full, evaluation without looking at the tape. So let's jump right into that. Okay, so I watched DK Metcalf's tape, and I cut it up. And here are some key segments here that I think we should go over and take a look at. So the first play here is against Alabama, and these first few plays will be all against Alabama here. And it's the start of the game, 15-0 in the first quarter, and DK Metcalf, you can see him get off the line very quickly, right? He gets off the line extremely quickly, quick double move, and he's targeted by Tamu, and that's a touchdown immediately. It's at elite speed with that big body presence that Metcalf brings to the table that most receivers can't. But here we go again, just a few minutes later in the same game. Tamu scrambles, throws to the sideline on that comeback route, and he drops it. He can't grab that. And he does it again. He's at the bottom of your screen here. Same game, still Alabama, and he'll do a comeback route against Alabama again. And it's basically the same play. Tamu scrambles, and he throws it, and it looks like he may have caught it. He may have not. He definitely holds on to the ball, but I think he's out of bounds when he tries to catch it with that foot. And in the final play here, we can see he's got a great opportunity to make a huge play. Alabama's actually offsides on this play, and he drops it. So, number one thing here to take away from this game is he's got great big play ability, but the questionable part of his game, of his abilities, is catching the ball. He needs to be able to catch the ball better, and he's got a lot of drops here in this Alabama game, and this is the theme we'll see going forward. Again, another huge play to start a game. This is Texas Tech here. Tamu throws it down the field. That get off the line enables him to get the pass, get past those corners, and just hit the gas with that 4.33 speed and get a touchdown immediately. And this is actually the game that opened the season. You can see that huge play again right here on this angle. Just a phenomenal play by DK Metcalf here. But we also see in this game some not so amazing things. But this is a pretty good game from him. Not bad. It's just not that amazing here. We see that this is basically the extent of his route tree. It's go routes, it's comeback routes that we saw, and it's these screen routes here. He does like 3 or 4 of them in a row on this tape. Well, not in a row, but I cut it up to show you how many screens he's going to be doing. So his route tree is very limited. It's basically 3 routes. It's a go route, it's a comeback route, and it's a screen. This play right here, I want to show you because it shows that he has great blocking ability. You would expect a guy like him, a huge receiver, to be able to block, and that's what he can do. It's on the bottom of your screen here, but and it's away from the run, but it does show you what his ability is. As a blocker, he can do it. Now at the top of your screen, same thing here. He's got a much better block, actually, I think. He just manhandles that guy as the runner goes up near him. And I want to show you his get off the line in a really clear example here. He just gets off the line very quickly. He uses his hands in a windmill-like formation here that a lot of defensive ends use to get around offensive linemen. And he does this against his cornerback, and he just goes, right? Now, I know it is, the cornerback's responsibility to come in, but it's a very, very quick move, and he is open immediately for Tamu, but he's not looking over there. That's not the play. So now you have the final game tape I'm going to show you. against LSU here. He's paired up against Greedy Williams, who is an actual draft pick prospect this year, and he'll probably be taken in either the early second or late first round as a cornerback out of LSU. So this is a big matchup between these two here. And you can see this first play, I just wanted to show you, it looks like he slows down, doesn't use his full speed here, and I think Tamu gets confused. I think I'm going to blame Tamu for this play because he overthrows it. But I do think that it wasn't a lot of hustle here, and it was a bit of a miscommunication from DK Metcalf and Tamu. So here we go on this next play. We have what looks like it's going to be a difficult catch to make, but he ends up getting it right in his hands and it's dropped. On the sideline, another drop by DK Metcalf. Not great. You have to make those plays. You can see on this play, he goes deep against Greedy Williams, I believe that is, and he causes an offensive pass interference. Not a good start at all. It looks like that he basically pushed Greedy Williams into the ground, maybe intentionally, maybe not, but he gets called for it. So not a great play there. He doesn't even get the ball, so not a great play at all. You can see on this angle, DK Metcalf just goes up, and he makes a collision right here with Greedy Williams and falls back. So not a great play. And now we have him here in the end zone just a few seconds later. And you've got to catch this ball, right? It's right there. This reminds me of Michael Crabtree here, not making the catch. Here's another angle of it. You have to make that catch, but he doesn't make it. He drops it in the end zone. When you're with Lamar Jackson, you're going to have a little bit wobblier passes. He's not the best passer in the world. You've got to catch the contested passes, and if DK Metcalf isn't catching these passes, it's going to be very difficult for him to do that in Baltimore. And then another drop right here. I mean, these are plays that you just have to make. I mean, this is right over the middle, right? And it's right in his hands. So another drop by DK Metcalf. So, I mean, he has that great ability to make great plays, but he's got a couple key problems. He doesn't have a full route tree going into this, and he has drop problems galore. So, again, great speed, great size and measurables. He can make extraordinary catches and extraordinary plays, and he's not afraid to block. He can do it effectively, and he's got great, quick get off the line, uses his hands, gets around receivers, but he's got a limited route tree and injury concerns, and he's dropped, and he's never really been a number one receiver. He doesn't have that workload experience, and with those injuries, that's a not so great situation there. And of course, it seems like all he does is get deep balls and screens, and he never really goes over the middle. Not from what I saw in this tape. So what do I think of him? I think that right now he's a mid first rounder. I would give him a 8.0 out of 10 on my evaluation here. I think he's a mid-first rounder. I think he's got a lot of talent, but he is a risky pick. He's more of a specialty player right now than a true number one. He's going to have to learn into these routes, catch the ball more effectively. It's going to be difficult, and with those injury concerns, it is a bit concerning, and it's going to be a gamble for whatever team that takes him, although he has an extraordinarily high ceiling and a super low floor. That's the problem. It's that super low floor that concerns me on what DK Metcalf would do. He's a mid-rounder in the first round. I could see him being picked anywhere between 16 and 20. I think that's where he really fits in, but I think with his combine, he might end up being a top 15, top 10 pick with this combine that he just put out. So it's going to be difficult if the Ravens want to get him. Can the Ravens get him? I think if he slides, the Ravens might see him there available at number 22. If there's a run on quarterbacks or there's a run on pass rushers, which there might be early on in the draft, the Ravens might have a chance to get him. But is he going to be a boom or bust? I'm leaning towards bust. I think DK Metcalf has a lot of the measurables, a lot of what you need to build an elite receiver, but I don't know if he has the mental ability to concentrate on those passes that he's dropping. He doesn't have that route tree, and he's got those injury concerns. This reminds me a bit of Brashad Perryman, who had that elite speed but had those dropping issues, and of course that injury history, and it was a major failure in Baltimore. And with Baltimore's track record with wide receivers, I'm not sure I can get behind bringing in DK Metcalf and assuming he's going to be able to do what the Ravens need of him. I think it's a very risky pick, But if he is the best player on the board at 22, then you might have to just take him and hope it works out for you. By no means do I think he's a bad prospect. I think he's a very good prospect. It's just the problem that the Ravens need a number one receiver right now, not a guy who's going to have to learn it and feel his way in and be a bit of a gamble. Without Crabtree, John Brown's probably going to be gone too. They need a guy who's going to be able to come in and compete as a number one receiver immediately, whether that's an A.J. Brown or somebody else in this draft or free agency. I don't know. DK Metcalf could be that guy, but it is a big gamble, and I think that really low floor is concerning for the Ravens, who are going to need a number one receiver going forward, and they can't really just keep going into free agency and picking out 30-year-old veterans and just hoping that they're going to be the number one receiver. You got to find guys who you can rely on for a little bit longer than that, and have more durability going forward. But again, DK Metcalf, I'll give a mid-first round grade, an 8.0 for DK Metcalf. I think the Ravens wouldn't really be making a mistake by drafting him. It'd just be a huge gamble. And I think if there's another receiver that they really like, they should go for him. And DK Metcalf probably won't be around for that 22nd pick in the first round to grab anyway. So we will continue our coverage of the NFL draft as we get closer and closer towards April. This is the first prospect evaluation. I'll be doing them by video this year, just seeing how you guys like that. And you can see more on BaltimoreFeather.com. And, of course, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Baltimore Feather, to get all these videos, too. I'm Chris Linfont of BaltimoreFeather.com, signing out.